We live in an era where busyness is worn like a badge of honor. A constant race against a clock that never seems to stop ticking. We chase after time, driven by push notifications and nameless expectations, barely stopping to breathe as the world rushes past us in a gray haze. But have you ever wondered, while you were so busy rushing forward, how many moments that truly belonged to you have simply slipped through your fingers? Are we actually living our lives? Or are we just putting in an immense effort to ensure that we are not left behind by the crowd? The noise of the city is loud, but the noise in our minds is often louder, echoing the frantic rhythm of a world that never sleeps. We have become cogs in a machine of constant productivity, forgetting that the soul requires a different kind of fuel to survive this endless winter. This is the tragedy of the modern soul. We are connected to everything and everyone. Yet we have never felt more disconnected from our own essence. The revolution begins when we realize that speed is not a virtue, and that being busy is not the same thing as being truly alive. It is time to question the pace of our existence and rediscover the profound power that lies within the silence we have so long avoided. We mistakenly believe that doing more always leads to achieving more, falling into the trap of a hustle culture that optimizes every single waking second. We are taught to maximize our efficiency, but we are rarely taught how to simply be present in the very moments we are working for. When we try to do everything at once, we end up belonging nowhere, living in a state of shallow existence that drains our inner reservoir. We pass through our lives like ghosts in a fast-forward movie, seeing the frames but never feeling the weight or the texture of the story. Even our most intimate moments are hijacked by the digital world, leaving us physically present but mentally miles away from the ones we love most. The pressure to be productive at all times has turned our hobbies into side hustles and our rest into a source of guilt and anxiety. We have become experts at managing our schedules, but we have become strangers to our own hearts and the quiet whispers of our true desires. The illusion of progress keeps us running on a treadmill, exhausted but stationary, never arriving at the destination of peace we so desperately seek. To break free, we must first recognize that our value is not determined by our output, but by the depth of our awareness and presence. True productivity is not about filling every gap in our day. It is about choosing what matters and letting everything else fall away quietly. Lao Tzu spoke of Wu Wei, the art of non-doing. It is not about laziness, but about acting without force, flowing with the natural universe. Like water, it does not fight the rock in its path, it simply finds a way around it, effortless and persistent in its journey downward. In Eastern philosophy, doing less means stripping away the trivial and the unnecessary, allowing your energy to focus purely on the absolute essentials. When we stop forced effort, we allow things to settle. Clarity emerges from the stillness, just as sediment falls to the bottom of a pond. The bamboo does not try to grow, it simply responds to the earth and the rain, standing tall and flexible against the winds of change. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. There is a profound wisdom in the rhythm of the seasons that we have long forgotten. Doing less is an intentional choice to stop the internal noise, creating a sanctuary where the soul can finally speak and be heard clearly. By aligning ourselves with the natural order, we stop fighting against the current of life and start being carried by its inherent, silent power. In this stillness, there is no lack of action, only a lack of wasted motion. Every movement becomes deliberate, meaningful, and deeply rooted in being. The revolution of stillness begins with the realization that the most powerful force in the world is often the one that makes no sound. The Stoic philosophers of the West also found strength in quietude. They believed that the mind must possess an inner fortress against external chaos. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we can retreat into our own souls at any time. This internal space is the only place of true freedom. Doing less is a conscious decision to guard this spiritual space, refusing to let the opinions or the pace of the world dictate your peace. The Stoics taught us that we should focus only on what we can control, letting go of the rest with a quiet and dignified grace. When we stop reacting to every stimulus, we reclaim our agency. We are no longer puppets of circumstance, but masters of our own internal state. Looking at the stars, we realize the insignificance of our daily anxieties. In the vastness of the cosmos, our frantic pace seems almost absurd. Silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of self. It is the foundation upon which a truly resilient life is built. By choosing to do less, we are choosing to protect our attention, which is the most valuable currency we have in this distracted age. The Stoic path is one of deliberate simplicity. It is the courage to be still when everyone else is running in circles of fear. Within this chosen stillness, we find the clarity to see the world as it truly is, not as we fear it might be in our busyness. Doing less is not an act of laziness. It is a radical revolution against a system that demands your constant, fragmented, and exhausted attention. It takes immense courage to say no to the hustle, to refuse the invite, and to choose the quiet of your own company instead. When you stop trying to fill every empty space in your schedule, you create room for meaning and serendipity to finally take root and grow. The beauty of a simplified life is that everything you keep becomes more significant. You move from the quantity of tasks to the quality of being. This revolution is internal. It is the moment you realize that you don't need to earn the right to exist through constant, visible labor. Success is no longer measured by the length of your to-do list, but by the depth of your peace and the clarity of your vision. In the absence of noise, we begin to hear the things that actually matter. We rediscover our passions, our values, and our own unique voice. By doing less, you are pruning the dead branches of your life, allowing the healthy parts to receive more light and grow much stronger. The revolution of doing less is an invitation to come home to yourself, to the person you were before the world told you to hurry. Step out of the race. Reclaim your time, reclaim your mind, and in doing so, reclaim the very life you have been missing for so long. Try tasting your food as if it were the very first time. Notice the textures, the flavors, and the simple joy of being nourished by nature. Look into the eyes of the person you are talking to. Listen to them fully, without preparing your next response or checking your phone for updates. Stillness allows us to see the extraordinary beauty hidden within the ordinary. It turns the mundane into a sacred experience of existence and wonder. Presence is a skill that we must practice daily. It is the act of bringing our wandering mind back to the here and the now. Feel the air on your skin and the ground beneath your feet. These physical sensations are anchors that keep you from drifting into the future. When we slow down, the world reveals its secrets to us. We notice the dance of shadows and the subtle shifts in the evening air. We start to live instead of just existing. Every breath becomes an event, and every moment becomes a container for potential and for deep peace. The simple act of breathing is a miracle we often ignore. It is the rhythm of life itself, calling us back to our own bodies. Take a lesson from the animals, who do not worry about tomorrow. They simply inhabit the present moment with a complete and effortless focus. The art of being present is the ultimate revolution. It is the only way to truly inhabit the life you have been given to live. Life is not a list of tasks to be completed before we die. It is a series of experiences to be felt deeply and cherished. Don't let yourself rush through the only life you have. Stop, breathe. The world will wait for you to find your center again. Your revolution starts now, in this very moment of silence. It is the beginning of a journey back to the heart of who you are. Everything you have been searching for is already here, waiting for you to be still enough to finally recognize its presence and its beauty. Be still, be present, and finally, for the first time in a long time, allow yourself to truly be home within your own precious life.